Yoga Sutras talk about this. Bhagavad Gita talks about this. Shuchau deshe pratisthapya sukhamasanam. He says, Shuchau deshe, look, clear your place. Your place must be clean. And there you create an asanam. Natyuchritam nati nicham chailajina kushotaram. Beautifully detailed. They should not be very high asanam. These days, the deeper a practitioner you are, the more props you have. Imagine, our yogis in the Himalayas, what prop they can get, eh? They have to sit without any props. And but this person, when you see, is already a tall guy. Then he sits on these big, big cushions and he looks like a mountain himself, So, it should not be too high. Natyuchritam. Nati nicham. Nor should it be too low. Too low. Your asanam doesn't have any buffer. So every moving creature of the ground can easily climb your lap. Like the scorpions and so on. In a tropical country, okay? And therefore, the asanam should be correct, should be in a pure place, and you take your posture. Samam kaya shiro grivam dharayan achalam sthiraha samprekshya nasikagram swam dishascha navalokayan. The 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita describes how when you sit, your posture must be samam. Posture must be straight. Kaya shiro grivam. So the head should not be at an angle. Then halfway through the meditation, you will drop in this direction. That's all that will happen. If the trunk of the body is not straight and you move forward and there you go, hit your nose. All kinds of experiences people have in meditation. There are others who won't drop anyway, they'll only sway from this side and then this side or front back. They find themselves swaying, And the neighbors are afraid what's going to happen next. Everybody else around you loses their meditation. And so all these challenges, the posture is important. Not only asanam, the pranayama, How so in the Gita, all this is explained in great detail, really. So beautiful a study, what the tradition gives us. So pranayama is that's because the mind and the body are very closely connected to each other. And the subtle body, in the subtle body, mind you cannot restrain, then we begin the process with the prana. Restrain the prana. Prana, even though it's involuntary, breath is involuntary, we learn to make the breath voluntary also. It lends itself. It lends itself to to a voluntary process. And therefore, pranasya ayamaha is pranayama. Restraining the prana. How do you restrain the prana? The sutras talk about it, Gita talks about it. So you define the prana in terms of time, the length, the time. A lot of features are discussed there. And either you can consciously regulate the breath called pranayama, or we have another important practice called pranavikshanam. In pranavikshanam, you don't manipulate the breath, but you only witness the breath. observing the breath at the nostrils, merely observing, a witness, prana vikshanam. Try this, later on, closing your eyes and watch your breath at the nostril. See how long you can watch without getting distracted. So proper asana, proper pranayama, these are tools to settle into meditation, to get your focus. This is not meditation. This is all the beginning process. It's called Hatha Yoga. Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara. Until Pratyahara, it is Bahiranga Sadhana. Pratyahara is teaching your senses to withdraw from the sense objects and come back to their original points, to belong to where they belong. If the senses are sitting in the sense objects, they are not relaxed. They are engaged, in a sense object. And therefore, pratyahara is withdrawing the senses from the sense object, and these initial steps are called bahiranga sadhanani, or external practices that are essential to entering into dhyanam. To enter into dhyanam, we take care of the yama, niyama, what in Bhagavad Gita is talked about as karma yoga. Karma yoga, which brings the right attitude towards dharma, adharma, and these are described as yama niyama or kriya yoga in the Yoga Sutras. These are all called external sadhanas. External sadhanas. Until you complete the relaxation process, your meditation has not even begun. Just because we sit and close our eyes, we are not meditating. Like I said, we can be traveling all over the world because the mind is so restless, it won't sit. When will it sit? It will sit when I take care of these elements called my attitudes towards life, towards karma, my duties. When I am able to sit properly, when the body is able to sit properly, sit in meditation, when you say, the fellow gets tense, tight, his hand will become tight and then he'll just sit. You're supposed to relax, sit, relax. Sukham asanam, not tight asanam. Sukham asanam. There's another guy who's so relaxed that the minute he sits down, he falls asleep, Don't be that relaxed, puts cushion at the back, in the sides, in the front. He's cushioned up, so comfortable that he wants to really go into laya, go into sleep. And so we need to understand what is balancing the body. Because meditation will not begin until you leave your body consciousness and move inward. If my posture is not proper, I cannot lose the body consciousness. My body will constantly call me back. Oh, it's paining here. You will adjust here. Then you will adjust there. And adjusting, tongue, your clock says time is up. The body won't cooperate. And therefore, asanam itself is a great, we call this asana siddhi. If you can sit in one posture for one muhurtam, 48 minutes, sit in a posture for 48 minutes without moving, then you are ready for the next step, pranayama, pratyahara. Okay, so these are the disciplines of contemplations. And very briefly, after all this, when I finally entered Dhyanam, Dharana Dhyana Samadhi is what is said. Dharana means taking an object of meditation. You fixing your mind on something, either a form or a sound or your own chakra. When you fix, there will be other thoughts that will try to defix. Like I remember our Shiva Subramaniam. So other thoughts will come trying to defix. The constant conscious efforts to stay in dharana is done through japa dhyanam. The effort to stay, so that you stay, even if it slips away, you come back and stay, come back and stay. This process is called fixing the mind, until you don't need to consciously fix the mind. Oh, what happens to it? It gets fixed. It gets fixed. It is fixed. It won't go now. When it won't move away, we are in dhyanam. We are in dhyanam. So when you visualize, suppose you visualize a deity, you do an upasana, a form. Normally other thoughts take over the visualization, isn't it? But think of a regularized contemplative practice where you have been doing this for a length of time, and now the form, when you call the form, it comes and stays with you. Next thing you know, when it doesn't move away, you can focus. The mind is there with you. That's when you begin to connect to the higher worlds. That's when the higher worlds also guide you, because they see you are equipped, you are ready to receive messages, to receive dialogue, to understand, to be able to intuit, to be able to cross the restless energies, that consume the mind. And therefore, dharana, dhyana, samadhi, these three is called what we call Raja Yoga, or these three is what makes up the final meditation. The first few are tools to get us there, the pranayama, pratyahara and so on. And these are the discussions, and it is said when you do this, when you move into the last three phase, your body is calmed down, the prana is come into a rhythm, slowed down, all of that is in place, then and meditation takes off. The Upanishad guides us. It says, Laye sambodhaye chittam vikshiptam samayet punaha sakashayam vijaniyat samapraptam nachalayet. A great guidance from Mandukya Karika, Mandukya Upanishad, Mandukya Karika. And what does it say? It says there can be certain obstacles, common obstacles. There are many obstacles in meditations. Common obstacles is addressed, one of which is called laya. Laya is drowsiness. Laya is sleep. I am wide awake until I sit in meditation. Have you experienced that? I am wide awake when I am moving about. The minute I sit in meditation, drowsiness comes. So that's called laya, obstacle, drowsiness or sleep, or even slipping into a trance state. That's another possibility. And this is called a state of decreased alertness, a state of decreased alertness. And so when that begins to happen, recognizing it, consciously awakening the mind, waking up the mind is necessary, not allowing the mind to slip into that, but waking up the mind consciously, maybe through pranayama again, through a quick Kapalabhati, and then sitting again in the meditation. So this is one thing, one way laya can be dealt with. Definitely not sitting in meditation after lunch, after heavy lunch, but Ammaji, I am only free after lunch. I get 1 hour lunch break. I need 10 minutes to eat. After that, I can sit in meditation. Please don't. Don't. Because once you're disheartened with the result, you will never want to go back to meditation. Don't put yourself in wrong situations. The best time is after you have taken a good rest, cleared your bowels, stomach is empty, body is rested, relaxed, early morning. That's where they talk about Brahma Muhurtam. Or in the evenings, before dinner, not after dinner. At the end of the day, we are tired. Morning, we are fresh. Those are the times for meditation, changing your food habits, you're reducing this high carb diets. Lot of this goes a long way in how you handle your body energies, and therefore laya is one obstacle. The other obstacle is called vikshepa. So they alert us. Vikshepa means distractibility, wandering thoughts, unfocused thoughts. And these thoughts can be sukshma, subtle, Thoughts can come because of attachments which emerge in meditation. Or ego, abhimana bahulam. So ego, pride, which I am such a hard, chauvinistic soul, and I sit in meditation, chauvinism pops up. It's a distraction, It shows my thoughts will move in a different manner. It won't be sattvic, it will be rajasic. And so the egos, when they are very, very strong personalities, the thoughts that distract you are rajasic thoughts. Or wrong thinking, drishti bahulam, wrong thinking. In meditation, if all this thinking comes up, becomes more heightened in meditation. And for that, what should I do? Reduce your likes and dislikes. Reduce your projections on the world for materialism. Patiently in meditation, deal with it. Bring back the mind to the object of meditation. It's a abhyasa. It's a regular practice hooked up with vairagya or detachment. Understand? Both need to be there simultaneous. And you don't go about boasting. You don't know how many hours I meditate in a day. No, I get up at 3:30. And all this boasting, when we start doing, gone. What is inside will come out. In meditation, these become our obstacles, and this is called vikshepa. The third type which the Upanishad talks about is kashaya. So kashaya is not your health drink, okay? When you are sick, what are you drinking? I am drinking kashayam every day. This is very typical in Tamil Nadu, We drink kashayam and we get well. We don't pop pills in our mouths. And so this is not that kashaya. Kashaya indicates negative thoughts, disturbing thoughts, undesirable thoughts, undesirable emotions. You're sitting in meditation and suddenly you start crying. No? Suddenly there is a different energy that causes agitation. Unconscious life experiences which you don't remember. In meditation they may emerge, they may pop up. Okay? So what should I do in all this? What should I do? He says, the Upanishad says, it is something like in a lake, when you're watching a still lake, still beautiful lake, and as you're watching, suddenly some putrefied matter at the bottom of the lake suddenly comes up and pop, it pops up. Have you seen that? It comes up, some putrefied matter, and it comes up and pops. So that is called kashaya. When you are relaxed, when you are available, when you are trusting, when you have let go, the subconscious, unconscious things, memories, experiences that were locked, that were held back, that were hidden away from you, they might emerge. What should I do? There is nothing to do. Sa kashayam vijaniyat. Observe them. Just observe. Don't get disturbed. Samaprapta na chalaye. Don't get disturbed. Just observe. It will come. As it comes, it will go. You don't need to do anything. Once it emerges, it is gone, and gone for good. It won't come back because it came up from the bottom like that bubble. Once it pops, then again that same bubble doesn't repeat, no? It is over. That kashaya is over. And so these are some basic guidelines given to us. And finally, he says, in contemplations really is the way forward. The tools in spirituality is threefold. Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasanam. We listen to the Guru giving us the teachings of the divine, the divinity within. It is not mere listening and understanding. Listening and assimilating involves reflections called mananam. So we have shravanam, mananam, reflections. Reflecting, because when the Upanishad says, the teachings, the sacred teachings say you are a sacred being, and you say, nah, that's not possible. So immediately there is an opposition from inside. As long as this opposition is coming up, that is, you deny yourself ownership of what is being declared about you, mananam is critical. Mananam, reflection.